Hello, today we are going to discuss about the empirical evidence on student diversity in India. In last videos we have discussed about the conceptual understanding and international initiatives and how government of India responding to the issues of diversity and issues of affirmative action, reservation, all those things. Now we are going to discuss about what is really happening in higher education institution in India in the context of diversity. As we know, in last 2 decades of time, Indian higher education has undergone a tremendous changes. In the beginning of the 21st century, GR in higher education in India was less than 10 percentage. Now it is 26.4. So, there is a huge increase in intake of students in higher education institution in the last 2 decades of time. Higher education has undergone a massive expansion. As a result of that, and due to the reservation policies, the campuses have become diverse. This is a reality. Then how to assess the diversity and how do we say that a campus or education system is diverse? This requires an understanding about the characteristics of the population being considered. In a broader sense, the diversity is temporal and contextual. So, many of the category that we are discussing now no longer existed in the history. For instance, the transgender was not an important category in the context of diversity maybe 20 years back. And similarly, we can see that new category of first generation learners. It is of a recent origin. The studies have found that the students from families where parents education level is below higher education, that means the parents did not undergo any higher education experience, those children facing severe difficulties and vulnerabilities in higher education. So, that is why first generation learner has been added as a new category. And we can look at the diversity at different levels. We can look at the diversity of the student body at the national level. So, national levels of data will tell about that, and it's state specific and institution specific. Similarly, we can look into diversity of a student body in terms of stream, that means the academic course, that professional courses or general courses, and different faculty wise also we can look into whether that each faculty is diverse in terms of student participation from diverse background. And we can also look into the UG level, PG level and PhD level. Similarly, we can also look into diversity of the student body in various type of institutions such as government aided and unaided institutions. So, accessing diversity, here I am going to focus some of the major elements or categories that we considered while discussing about the diversity. One is the caste background of the students. Second is the religious background of the students. Then is the regional backgrounds. It is has two dimensions. One is the locational thing category, that is the student from whether it is from rural or urban, and similarly different region from different states. And similarly, we have another category called income group, whether the students are from the poor family or rich family. Gender and sexual preferences is another category, and parental education background, that is the idea of a first generation learner we have discussed earlier. So, we also look into the parental education level also as a category to be included in a diversity discourse. So, let us see what happened after the massification of the system in India in last 1.5 or 2 decades. The massification of higher education has substantially changed characteristics of the clientele. There is an increasing demand for higher education and supply conditions also improved drastically. So, we have more number of colleges and universities compared to 20 years back and more number of students in the colleges and university. We have currently 37.4 million students in the system, and significant share of those students are coming from non-traditional socio-economic and cultural group. This is the hallmark of massification of higher education in India. Some of the non-traditional learners, that is the who are entering into higher education, are as follows. One is the disadvantaged social groups, like this, the students belong to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe or other backward class, and religious minorities like Muslims, and students from uneducated parents, students from underdeveloped region, and students from schools located in the remote areas, and students from lower income also. So, these are some of the major characteristics of the non-traditional learners. So, let us take the case of caste. If you look at the latest data available on social group participation in higher education, as I have shown in the table, 43.26% of the students in Indian higher education belong to the general category. However, OBC constitute 36.34% and SC 14% and ST 5.52%. What is the significance of this data? In fact, this is the first time in the history of higher education the non-general category goes beyond the 50% of the total share. Now, we can see that nearly 57% of higher education students in India are from non-upper caste or non-general category. And if you can closely look at the gross enrollment ratio, we can also see the disparity that existing between the upper caste and the lower caste in attaining higher education. So, according to the Asia All India Higher Education Survey latest data, GR for all category stands at 26.3%. However, that is for scheduled caste is 23% and the scheduled tribe is 17.2. That means there is a huge disparity exists in higher education in terms of access, and STs, scheduled tribe, is one of the vulnerable groups in higher education. SC has substantially improved their participation. However, there is a need for catch up to stand in par with the all category. And second is a locational aspect. Here we can see that this is based on a CPRHE data. 43.8% of the students are from rural area and 56.2 from the urban. So, somewhat half of the students are coming from the rural area. And gender, here I have considered only the male and female. So, let us look into the share of male and female in higher education. The 48.6% of the higher education students is a female. That means every other student is a female. It is a very progressive development in the context of gender. And this is about the first generation learner. So, this is based on a study CPRHE has carried out in 6 states. This is not a representative of the all India data, but it is a national study that has been carried out in 6 of the major states. So, here we can see 24% of the total number of students are first generation learners. Their family either father or mother did not undergo any higher education experience. They studied up to 12th standard. And we can look into the what is the classification for, what is the details for the Hindu and Muslim and other religion in the case of first generation category. And one important observation we can see that among the SC, the 31% are from first generation category. That is for the ST is 44, that is somewhat equal to half. OBC it is still less, that is 26.3. That means that even among the OBC, so in the case of OBC we can see that still the first generation learners share is comparatively lower. So those who have accessed higher education, their children again go into the higher education, not the illiterate or non higher educated families. So this is an important dimension to be further explored. Income. So this is study carried out based on a analysis of National Sample Survey data for 2007 and 2014. Here we can set the first quintile, that is the richest quintile. 52.9% of the richest quintile were accessing higher education in 2007. The same year, the poorest quintile, that is a fifth quintile, only 4.8% were accessing higher education. There is a huge gap between the rich and poor. If you look at the 2014, the share of richest quintile reduced to 34.1. However, the share of the poorest quintile actually increased from 4.8 to 7.9. So this is a very progressive development. However, one thing we should keep in mind that the 34.1% of the richest quintile going to higher education does not mean that their number has actually declined. It is because their share has declined, but as their actual number remains the same or higher. This scenario happens when larger number of other quintiles, quintile 2, quintile 3 and quintile 5 entering, the average relative share only reducing. And summary, the higher education expansion in last 2 decades has made substantial changes in the characteristics of the clientele of higher education. Now, diverse student body is entering into higher education. Our classrooms are now occupied by students from diverse socio-economic and cultural background. Higher education is no longer a privileged space for social and economic elites. However, disparity still exists that needs to be addressed in order to make our higher education system more inclusive. Thank you.